Prime Minister Mercelina extends condolences to Guyana following MV Barima tragedy. Thousands of students continue cockroach protest in Delhi. BBC News. KPSM Bromi and contractors participate in a coordination meeting on road safety measures for the Point Blanche prison project. Heilige Martin convenes BTP review. NVGEBE to substantiate tariff information by July 27. From the island of St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for July 23, 2026. 8 more bodies have been recovered as search and rescue operations continue following the sinking of the MV Barima, bringing the total number of confirmed bodies recovered from the tragedy to 10. The government of Guyana said that as of 12:35 p.m. on Monday, July 20th, 2026, the bodies were recovered during an intensified operation involving 13 assets deployed by the Maritime Rescue Coordination Center from First Light. The identification process is being carried out with the involvement of relatives at the Suddy Hospital. Authorities said bodies recovered during the operation will be transported to charity for processing by health and police officials before families are invited to assist with identification.
That man just float out. Coast Guard about to collect.
Fishermen and the authorities recovering the bodies of victims from the MV Barima tragedy off the coast of Guyana. The ferry overturned Saturday night after leaving Port Georgetown in the afternoon. On Tuesday, as at 1 p.m. Guyana time, the authorities said 77 people were rescued and 41 bodies recovered. Scores of people are still missing. French and local divers were continuing underwater search and recovery operations. 16 vessels were deployed within the wreckage area, and the designated search area was expanded by 400 square miles. This woman survived the incident and spoke with Newsroom Guyana. She was able to save her baby, one of 2 children.
But in the hustle of everyone to snatch anything they could to survive, her daughter went down.
Me and my children been on the boat, and me been sitting and my daughter been sleeping, and my son been in my hand. So now when the boat canting, then me rush my daughter, hold him up, trying to swim up like come up to catch breath. Then somebody just rush out my hand and send my daughter down.
The main cause of the MV Barima tragedy in Guyana has not been disclosed. It's reported that the vessel's captain and first engineer have been arrested after both tested positive for narcotics. Guyana's President Dr. Irfan Ali met with the survivors and the relatives of victims.
I also assure the nation that there will be a full, thorough, and independent investigation into this tragedy. The families affected, and indeed the people of Guyana, deserve answers. They deserve to know precisely what transpired and whether any failures contributed to this heartbreaking event. We'll pursue the truth with transparency, impartiality, and accountability.
In the meantime, the 3 days of mourning will begin on Wednesday, July 22 through Friday, July 24. During this period, the national flag of Guyana will be flown at half-mast on government buildings and other appropriate locations. Wednesday will be observed as a National Day of Prayer and Remembrance at the Kingston Seawall in Georgetown. There will also be nights of reflection and prayer on Thursday and Friday. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina, on behalf of the government and people of St. Martin, extends heartfelt condolences to the government and people of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana following the tragic loss of lives resulting from the MV Barima disaster. Our hearts are with every family mourning the loss of a loved one, those awaiting news, and the survivors whose lives have been forever changed by this tragedy. No words can ease the depth of such grief, but we want the people of Guyana to know that they do not mourn alone. As members of one Caribbean family, Sint Maarten stands in solidarity with Guyana during this deeply painful time. We also recognize the courage and dedication of the emergency personnel, volunteers, and citizens supporting the affected families. May God grant strength and comfort to all those who are grieving and bring healing to the entire nation. Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport and Telecommunication, Grisha Heilige Maarten, has requested an urgent joint meeting with Minister of Justice Natalie Tackling, the police, KPSM, and the prosecutor's office to discuss recent criminal activity and public order incidents affecting key commercial and tourism areas. The request follows heightened public concern surrounding the daylight armed robbery at a Front Street jewelry store on July 17th. Robberies targeting supermarkets, bars, and reports of recurring fights, unruly behavior, and firearm-related incidents in and around Kim Sha and the wider Simpson Bay area. Minister Heilige Maarten commended the police force of Sint Maarten, KPSM, for its continued targeted controls, firearm-related operations, and the prompt apprehension of a suspect following the Front Street robbery. Our police officers continue to demonstrate commitment under challenging operational circumstances. Their efforts must be recognized and supported, the minister stated. The minister emphasized that the request should not be interpreted as a declaration that Sint Maarten is unsafe or as confirmation of an overall increase in crime without verified data. However, she acknowledged that recent incidents have become highly visible, particularly through social media, where videos and reports can circulate locally and internationally within minutes. The speed at which information is shared online has changed the impact of an incident. What happens in one location can be seen around the world almost immediately. While this can heighten public concern, those concerns cannot simply be dismissed. They must be addressed with verified information, clear communication, and coordinated action, Minister Heilige Maarten said. Front Street, Simpson Bay, and Kim Sha are among Sint Maarten's most visible commercial and tourism areas. Criminal activity in these locations can affect not only the immediate victims, but also businesses, employees, visitor confidence, investment, and the country's international reputation. While public safety falls within the responsibilities of the justice authorities, the minister noted that it also becomes an economic and tourism concern when businesses, employment, and confidence in the destination are affected. The requested meeting will seek a current, verified assessment of armed robberies, firearm-related offenses, public order incidents, and suspected repeat offending, including any involvement of minors and young adults. It will also address short-term measures to strengthen police visibility, enforcement, and response in identified hotspots. Additional areas for discussion include the impact of detention capacity constraints on the justice chain, youth firearm prevention initiatives, and opportunities for and the private sector to support training, mentorship, and legitimate employment pathways. The minister is also proposing greater coordination among businesses, nightlife establishments, private security providers, TEATT, and the justice authorities, together with a responsible communication approach that informs and reassures the public without minimizing legitimate concerns or compromising active investigations. This is not about assigning blame, creating panic, or interfering with the work of the justice authorities. It is about ensuring that the relevant authorities have a shared understanding of the situation and a practical plan to protect our residents, businesses, visitors, and economy, the minister stated. TEAT stands ready to support a coordinated response through engagement with businesses and tourism stakeholders, appropriate information sharing, and practical cooperation with the competent justice authorities. The Minister has requested that the meeting be convened at the earliest availability date of all parties. A coordination meeting was held at the KPSM headquarters, bringing together representatives of the Ministry of Viaromi, contractors responsible for the construction of the new Point Blanche prison, and KPSM representative. The meeting focused on developing and coordinating road safety measures to be implemented throughout the various phases of the prison construction project. Discussions centered on the safe transportation of construction equipment and trucks, with the objective of minimizing disruptions and ensuring the safety of residents, motorists, pedestrians, and other road users. Participants also discussed strategies to reduce the project's impact on the surrounding neighborhood while maintaining efficient construction operations. Close coordination among all stakeholders will continue as the project progresses to ensure that public safety remains a top priority. KPSM reaffirmed that safety is and remains a priority. We are committed to working closely with all relevant partners to safeguard the community by promoting safe traffic management, protecting road users, and maintaining public order throughout the duration of the project. KPSM emphasizes that this commitment extends beyond the Point Blanche prison project and reflects its ongoing dedication to ensuring the safety and security of the people of Sint Maarten.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Traffic and Telecommunication, Grisha Heilige Martin, met with the Bureau Telecommunication and Post, BTP, on Tuesday to assess the implementation of the new supervisory framework for utilities company NVGEBE and establish the status of BTP's review of the latest fuel clause adjustment. BTP informed the minister that NVGEBE submitted most of the information requested in its July 13th letter. However, portions of the documentation were unclear and require further substantiation before BTP can complete its assessment. BTP has given NVGEBE until July 27th to provide the additional information. NVGEBE has indicated that it intends to meet the deadline. The meeting also confirmed that BTP did not receive the supporting information needed to validate the latest adjustment of the fuel clause to XCG 0.49 before it was implemented. The advanced submission and validation procedures under the newly established supervisory framework were still being operationalized at the time. Under the process now being implemented, NVGEBE is expected to provide the relevant calculations and supporting information before any proposed fuel clause change for the next billing cycle is finalized. This will allow BTP to subject the calculation to regulatory scrutiny in advance. Activating BTP as supervisor was the first step. The government's responsibility now is to ensure that the authority created by the decree is being used effectively and that the public receives verified answers, Halliger Martin said. The latest adjustment was not validated by BTP in advance. That is a gap which must be addressed. The new process must ensure that future calculations reach BTP with sufficient time and supporting documentation for proper examination. BTP cautioned that examining the next fuel clause calculation will not by itself constitute approval of the existing fuel clause methodology or the wider electricity tariff structure. Both require a more comprehensive technical, financial, and regulatory review. The first phase of BTP's work covers the supervisory framework and fuel clause methodology. The second phase will examine NVGEB's complete tariff structure, including consumer categories and provisions for social tariffs, and support recommendations for a lawful national tariff decree. The third phase will address the legislation required for broader regulatory authority and continued oversight of NVGEB's other concession obligations, including renewable energy requirements. Halliger Martin said the new framework establishes a clear accountability chain. NVGEBE is required to provide complete and substantiated information. BTP must subject the calculations and methodology to technical, financial, and regulatory scrutiny, and must consider BTP's findings and take any action warranted in the public interest. Cooperation is necessary, but it does not replace accountability. BTP cannot complete its assessment until the requested substantiation is received and examined. I expect the July 27 deadline to be met and the public to be informed of what the evidence supports, the minister said. As part of its transition to the new St. Martin General Hospital, SMGH, St. Martin Medical Center, SMMC, has announced the launch of its new website, wsmgh.sex. The new website, built by Dutch-Caribbean web developer Let's Build That Site, offers a user-friendly digital experience designed with the hospital's patients and visitors in mind. In addition to basic features such as news, job vacancies, a frequently asked questions, FAQ section, and information about the hospital, the site also features digital forms for compliments, complaints, and job application submission. Additionally, patient information brochures on various health-related topics are also available for online reading or download. SMGH.SX boasts several accessibility features, including Dutch, French, and Spanish translations, easy options to increase contrast or enlarge text, a fully customizable read aloud function for the visually impaired, and a chat function that allows users to find all information in one place. Additionally, the site conforms to the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG 2.1 Level AA, which define requirements for designers and developers to improve accessibility for people with disabilities. This new website is a step further in our transition to SMGH. The site continues to serve as an official communication channel, providing press releases and updates on medical specialties, SMGH construction, and other important information for patients, visitors, and the community. The new website can be visited at www.smgh.sx.
Now for the weather forecast, tonight through Friday midday. Partly cloudy to cloudy with light haze and scattered showers. Surface winds. Tonight through Friday midday, southeasterly to east-northeasterly with a light to moderate breeze at 7 to 15 mep. State of the sea. Smooth to slight, waves arc swells 1 to 4 feet. Outlook through Saturday midday, partly cloudy to cloudy with isolated showers. And now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
Pressure is growing on India's government amid protests involving thousands of students in Delhi. Dozens were injured in a police crackdown on a march on Parliament. The so-called cockroach movement wants reforms to education and the resignation of the education minister.
A young generation's anger boiling over. The largest protests Delhi has seen in years. Monday, thousands of protesters attempt to march towards Parliament, away from the designated protest venue. Tear gas, batons, a use of force that police argue was justified. They say dozens of officers were also injured. Still, days after the crackdown, protesters return, demanding the resignation of the education minister after the leak of a national entrance exam.
I was here at the very first protest the Cockroach Janta Party had organised about a month ago, and this is so much bigger. For context, that national exam is one that families pin their hopes on, hoping their children can get a better life. The anger, the frustration, this may have started as an online meme, but this is impossible to ignore now.
Social contract between the people who've been elected and the electors is completely broken because the government does not listen to the demands of the youth who are facing highest joblessness, unemployment levels, exam paper leaks. Competitive exams are the only means for a lot of families to get out of poverty.
The education minister has said the government owes students answers, reforms and accountability. He says that's exactly what the government remains committed to delivering. Near the Prime Minister's residence, the leader of the opposition protesting the crackdown. Another unauthorised protest venue. Rahul Gandhi forcibly removed. It's not the first time politicians have been briefly detained, but this time he is dragged into a police bus. Senior members of the CJP have met the government twice, but say there has been no progress. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has still not acknowledged the protests. Young Indians here say their voice is finally being heard, and that this is only the beginning. Azadeh Mashiri, BBC News, Delhi.
This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.